What is up, guys? It is Joe back again talking about the Kansas State Wildcats. Back to basketball this time. I know it might not be the sexier sport right now, but it is my favorite time of year. It is transfer portal season. Now, first things first, sorry the slide's kind of heavenly right now with the, light of heaven coming down on us right there. It is what it is. So I apologize. That might get better going forward. At the moment, I'm just too lazy to turn it off. That's on me. But today we are talking about Kansas State's approach in the transfer portal, as well as a couple guys K-State has already contacted in like the first couple days of players entering the portal. Technically, things don't kick off until Monday, so we have a little bit of time to kind of survey the field. K-State's already on top of it. They said, you know what, we're not screwing around. We're getting to the portal right then, right there. And I will talk to you about both guys, about the different approaches, about what I think we should do in the portal this offseason. But before I do, let me say this. If you like K-State athletics, if you like K-State basketball, football, if you like anything Power Cat related, K-State related, go ahead and consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. My name's Joe. I talk about the Cats. If that wasn't apparent by now, I don't know what it is. But either way, I'm going to be making a lot of content over the next couple weeks. Now that I'm not like deathly ill, I'm back in the saddle. It is good to be back. So at the time you're watching this right now, we know if K-State either didn't make it or did make it to the March Madness NCAA tournament. It is what it is. I don't know what it is right now. I'm recording this a little bit early. It's Saturday night at the time I'm recording this, so tomorrow we will know. My hope is that the conversations have grown to the point where K-State gets the nod over teams like Indiana State or FAU who have 2 quad 1 wins and we're not able to do much. But also, it is what it is, okay? If we're ready to get to the transfer portal, I get that. This is what we're going to talk about today. So if we're in, go Cats. We're winning the national championship. If we're not, next year winning the Natty. Okay, that's where we're at right now. So this is my PSA before we get into things here. Let's start here. Guys, the portal officially opens Monday. You're seeing this, I guess this would be Monday morning at the time of seeing this more than likely, which is the official start date for the transfer portal to open. Now, if you had coaching changes, some guys announce they're entering the portal when it opens Monday, but they still announce. Some guys will declare for the draft, maintain eligibility, and then declare, put themselves in the portal. There's a lot of different options that are going to happen. It's the same way we ended up with Arthur Kaluma. Guy declares for the draft, maintains eligibility, comes back, enters the portal, comes to K-State. K-State, last season, coming off the hype of the Elite Eight, coming off all the great things, I think a lot of people thought we'd have some major, major players in the transfer portal, and I would argue that both TP and Art fit that category, but Kansas State this year doesn't have an Elite Eight to show for it. In theory, I guess it's early. We might miss the tournament entirely, but if that happens, whatever. That's a whole different conversation. But the portal last season, I think K-State's approach was drastically different than it will be this year. Obviously, the Wildcats were in conversations with guys like Aaron Estrada, who I think eventually went to Alabama, guys like Max Asmus, who went to Texas. There was a lot of big names that had K-State in their top 2 or 3. It didn't end up working out, and they'd go somewhere else. They'd come to visit K-State, or they'd put us in their top 4, not visit, move on, whatever. And when you talk to Jerome Tang, it was a lot of, we know this portal is going to be open all offseason. There's going to be a lot of great players that enter in July, enter in August. I mean, you think about Desi Sills, Keontae Johnson. Those were both August and I think October for Desi. Maybe not October, but it was pretty damn late in the cycle as to when you got these guys. The staff knew, hey, there's going to be great players down the stretch. We're going to wait. We'll leave a spot open. We'll go from there. I think this past season, they paid for that a little bit. They understood, they were in some early conversations, but couldn't get the ball rolling past a certain point. I'm not going to sit here and say it's NIL because I know people are going to be like, well, it's NIL. Other schools paid more. This happened. Sometimes a young coaching staff is learning lessons. And I'm not saying they're a bad coaching staff or anything like that, but this is Coach Tang's second year in the transfer portal. I mean, he had to build an entire team from scratch. There wasn't really like a deadline of we have time to be patient. They didn't have that first year. This year, if you haven't already noticed, K-State is in conversations and they are reaching out fast. I know there's going to be, 80 different reports saying Kansas State mentioned, this team mentioned, Arkansas, Alabama, they reached out to everybody, spoiler alert. There's going to be a lot of different reports of guys that K-State reaches out to, doesn't get a conversation with. K-State said, you know what? We are not being patient. We are going early. We are going fast. We're going to do our thing. K-State reaches out to 2 names already in the transfer portal that are big dudes that will command a lot of NIL money, a lot of respect, and get some really good offers. Not just Division I offers, not just Big 12 offers. You're going to have some of the best programs in college basketball reaching out to some of these guys. K-State said, we're not waiting. We're not going to be slow. We are reaching out early, and we're reaching out often. K-State reached out to 2 players. There's one in the thumbnail of this video, and one more I'll talk about. The first one being Marcus Foster. No, not that Marcus Foster, different Marcus Foster. A point guard from Furman. I've got his stats pulled up here. Let me read them to you. Who is going to command a lot of offers in the portal. I mean, the guy averaged 17 points, 7.5 rebounds, and 1.8 assists in his senior season with Furman. He is a 6'4" guard, and he's going to be a stud. Wherever he ends up, he's going to be a stud. His gameplay, and I'll talk about each guy a little bit more in depth, but his gameplay has a lot of if you took TCU's Emmanuel Miller and made him into a 2-guard, rather than that 3-4 power forward, small forward position, take him, shrink him down to 6'4", put him at the 2-guard, that's this player. Let me talk about the other guy before I continue talking about Marcus Foster, because I've got some things that both these players will tie into here in a second. The second player that K-State reached out to was UT Martin guard Jacob Cruz. Now, Jacob Cruz, man, this is a guy that I'm over the moon excited about. Will it work out? I'm not sure. The guy had 25 different schools reach out to him immediately upon putting his name in there. Averaged 19.1 points, 8.2 rebounds in his junior season with UT Martin. And here's the other kicker. Shot 41.4% from three. Dude is a sniper. Now, K-State reached out to both of these guys already. And immediately the fit makes better sense with Jacob Cruz as a 6'8 junior, kind of occupying that 3 role, that small forward catch-and-shoot guy. That fit makes a little better sense at face value. When you think about it, I wanted to make this because I thought this would be a good talking point. K-State is going to attack the transfer portal in waves. Because it's Jerome Tang, you know they're going to target his veteran guard. Obviously, you have Quez Glover returning, so there is technically a veteran guard to consider, but that's probably going to be something down the stretch. K-State's going to go in waves of what their most needed players are. These two guys immediately screamed this to me because you look at K-State's roster, Data Ames / David Castillo are going to be your one. They'll probably rotate in tandem. There'll be times when they're both on the court, but for the sake of it, they're both going to be your point guard. Your 2 guard is going to be Cam Carter. I think this offseason is going to be dedicated to improving some of Cam's ball handling skills, some of his turnover decisions, try to fix the things that, you weren't asking him to be perfect this year, but he was so focused on scoring that sometimes you lost a little bit in certain other areas. I think Cam is going to be a dominant 2-guard at Kansas State. And also, he was. Cam was dominant a lot last season. I mean, there's games where he had 20 and 10. There's a lot of great performances, but I just wanted to say that I think he's going to move more into that 2 role than the 3 role, which you saw him operating at times this season. The addition of Jacob Cruz or Marcus Foster would make you say, okay, so Art would either enter the transfer portal or go to the NBA. No. K-State wants Art to be a 4. I don't think they want to force Art into that 3 role where you have to be a shot creator, you have to be a catch-and-shoot guy all the time. 4 is a great position for Arthur Kaluma. His size, his speed, it works better at the 4 than it does with some of the athletic 3 guards in the league. So you'd look at it, let's say in theory, because I think, freshman guards won't immediately just be the face of the franchise. I think you'll probably look at Data Ames at the 1, Cam Carter at the 2, one of these 2 players at the 3. Jacob Cruz obviously is a better fit at 6'8", 210. I think his size works a little better at the 3 position, but he is like if you took Ish Masood's game, made it a little bit sexier and a little bit more aggressive. That's kind of the vibe I get here. Jacob Cruz is a 3-and-D guy that has the ability to either shot create off the dribble or have the catch-and-shoot game. Ish was a solid player, didn't have a ton of minutes all the time. This is a guy who can immediately start for you on the court. Marcus Foster is a hooper. I mean, the guy can put the ball in the hoop. That's really what you're looking for. No, he's not going to shoot 40%, but he's a guy that can score. K-State is pissed off and tired of the 4, 5, 6-minute stretches of not scoring. There is too many good athletes on the court to not score. Jacob Cruz would be my pick of the 3, or obviously Marcus Foster. It's going to be whoever they pursue in the portal. A scoring, shot-creating 3 who can put the ball in the hoop is going to be what they approach in the portal. Your 4 is going to be Arthur Kaluma. I think Kaluma's back. He's going to probably test the NBA draft waters, get familiar with the process, then come back to K-State if he doesn't hire an agent. If he has a really good, workout, there's a chance he goes to the NBA, but I think Art will be back. And your 5, I think it's going to be Jerome Colbert. I think Jerome Colbert, an offensive-minded Jerome Colbert, where you had the offseason of, okay, you showed us the energy, you showed us your defense, those will continue to improve. Let's focus on expanding the game in terms of rebounding and scoring. That's what Jerome Colbert has the ability to do. Now, could this all change and K-State's just looking for the best players? Yeah, that's true. That absolutely could be the case, but I think you're already seeing what is the biggest need for this team. A guy who will put the basketball in the hoop. Jacob Cruz, Marcus Foster both fit that category. Now, both guys had, 15, 10, 12 teams reach out to him immediately, and there's going to be more. Like Jacob Cruz had offers from Kansas. He had other schools in the Big 12. If you can get the right dudes in the, as a part of the team, I think that's what they're looking for. I don't think K-State's going to do the whole, Well, there's good players out there. We'll wait and we'll be patient. They're on top of things. Hey, we're here to talk to you. Get to campus. Get to K-State. Let's tour. Let's do this. This is where we're at. So I wanted to make this video not just to talk about like these two specifically. I think both would be incredible players at Kansas State, and I think there's going to be some interest when the time does come to either, come in to visit campus or cut down lists or something like that. But I would just say that it's an exciting time to see K-State say, screw it, we're going in for the guys that matter. We're going for the right people. We're not going to sit back and wait and see what happens later and kind of fall through the cracks. K-State say, you know what? We deserve to be a number one team. We're going to focus up and get the guys we need to get. Jacob Cruz is my pick over Marcus Foster. The 41% three-point shooting, that is what you need at K-State. David Castillo is a hell of a shooter. I'm sure that Dede Ames will take a step forward in shooting as well. But if you can get a guy who can pull up, doesn't matter where, on that side of the half court and hit a three, that's the guy you bring in. I think Jacob Cruz has the ability to step on the court and be that guy. He also selfishly has a little bit of like, I'm better than you. I'm a better player than you are. You cannot guard me. He's got a little bit of like, not cockiness, and I don't want to say this because I haven't really met the kid. I don't know the kid personally, but his game shows like, I can be the best player on the team. I am the best player. I'm better than you. You can't guard me. That energy, K-State hasn't had a ton. Jacob Cruz fits multiple roles at Kansas State. I don't know enough about Marcus Foster. That's why I'm kind of going on about Jacob Cruz, but you will continue to see K-State engage in conversations. That's the point of this video. And I wanted to make it just to talk about guys that we're, touching base with. There's already at the time of this, there will be multiple more people that we've probably contacted by the time you see this video. But there's already guys, there's 10 dudes that average more than 15 points per game already in the portal. There's guys that average 15 and 10 in the portal already. This is going to be an exciting offseason. It's one of my favorite times. It is a holiday, and I'm going to be doing my best to cover the portal. So, guys, I wanted to make this video just to discuss that, kind of talk about the approach and what I think happens next. But other than that, guys, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. We will talk more K-State basketball, K-State football in the near future. I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. I'll talk to you guys later. Go Cats.